Hello, and welcome to Sim.bc. We're right here, right now, right today's numero uno video of the celebrative end of the year week special thing, accumulating all of the experience over the last year that has been happening so far based on a daily upload schedule. I know, it just rolls off the tongue naturally. Okay, so it might not be the best title, but yesterday, I believe I was talking about certain lessons that I would going to present in formal sort of enlisted fashion. Now, turns out you can interpret these things as lessons, but what I really meant was I'm going to talk about cons one day and the pros one day of having a daily upload schedule. And right here, as of today, we're going to start off with the top 5 cons of having a daily upload schedule. Now, some context to the list. Now, I have placed these things, and I have a list in front of me if I seem to peek down an awful lot. Number 5 is, the most fringe thing. These are all things that generally irritates me, right? But number 5 is the fringes, and then the increase in irritation to numero uno, which is going to be the worst key thing that I can possibly imagine with doing something, at least, every single day. It's the absolutely bloody worst. Yet again, personal experience. You might have faced a similar task in the past, and you will be all like, well, excuse me, sir, but I didn't find the same challenges as you did. I actually found something else completely irrelevant to your situation to be the most irritating thing of all time. Now, yet again, my personal list of all the things that I've just seemed to run into and hindered me and been, just general obstacles in my way over the approximate last year. I think it's fair enough to say almost the last year, right? Anyway. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this list. Let's start up with number 5, which will be, I rarely get to reflect on what I put out. And that's, in all honesty, something that's quite irritating. Because having a daily upload schedule, so to say, putting out a video each and every single day, I'm always in the mindset of, let's put something out there, yeah? Let's do something new. Let's put something out there. Let's come up with an idea. And let's just roll with it. And I rarely get to stand by and look back at my videos and think, wonder if this was the best approach to take. Which sort of irritates me, because in one degree, I do have that time. But on the other hand, I use that time in order to make the next video so much better, or at least I assume it will be. But the problem when I can't really stand up, so to say, stop in time and actually reflect on what I've done is twofold. I can't pick up on the mistakes that I'm doing, so to say. I was almost about to put that finger. I can't reflect on the mistakes I do quite editorially and presentive wise and all of the things, how I actually operate in front of the camera. The second thing is that if I've said something that's like really offensive, like we're talking stupidly offensive, if I, just to put general gist of it, if I have happened to had meant to say one thing, but it turns out what I've done is that I've been standing there and saying, hey, you over there, you're a bloody idiot. I mean, how thick are you, mate? And that's like the entire point that gets across in the video. Sometimes I don't notice that, which is awful, because I tend to be very myself when I'm making these videos, trying to really present my point of view. And if they come across wrong, that's a huge problem. Because then it's the same as me saying, oh, I can stand for most of the things I've said, except for the SNRs maybe, right? Because that's actually commenting on some news pieces where I'm not 100% up in times with. But when it comes to me just talking about the general discussion, the general problem, something in business, then I tend to be very, opinionated. And if I have made the wrong point come across, then wow, am I in for a bad ride if someone is going to be like, hey, you said that, you can't argue with that, and I'm like, that's stupid, and they're again saying like, yeah, but you said it, mate, and I'm like, did I? Oh no. Yeah, so that's a huge problem. Anyway, let's move on to number 4. Number 4, so to say, which is stress and pressure to get a video out there on time. Now, most of you will probably say like, hey, have you ever seen Rhett and Link? Because a couple of years back, they made what I believe was the 24 video challenge, which was basically they were putting out one video on each hour of the day. So they were coming up with an idea, and they were filming it, and they were editing it, and they were putting it out there for the world to see. And they were doing this over the course of, well, I believe it was either 12 or 24 hours, something like that. And they put out the video each and every hour. Obviously, the production value got lowered because of that. But a problem that I face is that I have a hard time coping with the stress. Because, yet again, it is sort of this self-implied pressure, right? It's pressure that I put on myself with no one else standing there backing me and be like, you need to put out a video. No, it's actually all up to me. If I choose not to put up a video, I'm only going to get punished by the amount that I will punish myself. But it's still a huge problem, because for every day that I put out a video, it will get harder to take what some might say be a quote-unquote necessary break, because I'm on a roll. I have a streak going here, and I don't want to quit that just now. I want to continue that, which means that it creates this sort of imaginative pressure, this sort of made-up pressure, because it's equally hard making a video today as it was approximately a year ago. However, it felt so vastly different. Making like 10 videos 10 days in a row was so much easier than be putting out video 150 to 155, for instance. Just to pick a number, right? Because then I had all of these videos lined up in my baggage, so to say, and now I couldn't just skip a day, because that would be the biggest thing ever. So yeah, that self-implied pressure is a sort of a thing. Now let's move on to number 3, which is coming up with ideas. Yeah, I know, some of these, as I said, I probably said them, are interconnected. You know, at best. They're not directly connected, but they might be interconnected. Coming up with ideas. Funny story, right? I think it was about 20 days ago, number 340 something, I made a video about all the ideas I had on one day, right? I had all of these ideas just bombarding my mind, and I was just like, which one do I want to pick? I have like 6 to 8 different ones, and I've written them all down. This is like 6 to 8 days of videos. Only problem was I had already planned out which videos to make. However, now we're in a sort of a late stage of the year. In the beginning of the year, let's say between New Year's and 150, somewhere in between there. Oh boy, did I have a hard time coming up with ideas, because you need to whip one out every single day. I need to make sure that it is something that I find to be sort of interesting, that I'm sort of opinionated towards, that I think that I can actually produce something that is of value to others if they come to watch it. And simultaneously, I need to make sure that I'm not stepping too much on anyone else's toes, because that can be a problem in and within itself. And then even if we go a bit further, we can say if I have a very factual, a very opinionated opinion, if I am of a strong opinion on one side of something that is factually based, I need to sort of make some research and get onto that background, so to say. So not, even though I'm coming up with ideas, I can't really act on all of them, because I don't have the relevant experience or even the thought process to comprehend what I'm supposed to say in many of these. Which means that many ideas get, pushed aside and slopped away. Due to that factor, there are lots of ideas that gets taken away. It's even harder to come up with ideas that I can actually keep. Yes, it bloody is. It's the worst sometimes, because sometimes, as I said, you have a day, late stage in the year, where I come up with like hundreds of ideas in a week. Previous to that, early this fiscal year, so let's say, in this close to New Year, I had an idea draft for about 20 days. Now, I had already pre-made ideas that I was sort of backing myself up towards, right? Okay, I have all of these in the baggage. I can use all of these and throw them forward. Let's roll with that. But after that, I think I had used like 18 of my 20 ideas that I had in my baggage. I was like, I only have 2 left. And I had the hardest time coming up with new ideas for what am I going to talk about the rest of the, 200 days that are left into the 1-year celebration of this channel, because I do want to go with the daily upload schedule until then. I remember thinking that, and I was like, how am I going to go about this? It's a huge problem. And that is also a huge con of making daily upload videos, because sometimes everything you need to relieve the amount of stress and pressure you have to gain some perspective is that you need to take like 1 day off. And then you're able to step back, review some of your material, and be like, I have 50 new ideas for what I want to do. And it sort of comes to you naturally. But at the time when you're on the line all the time, I mean, I came up with ideas. Surely I did. I was reliant on my mind, but still there were sort of a risk that I could be out in the cold here. And then you obviously start to research and you try to counter that negative effect, and that to some degree actually worked because, well, we're here now, so I had something to talk about each and every single day, even though you can argue that some of the days were of lacking quality in comparison to others. Well, sure. Anyway, mates, anyway, I think that's enough said for point 3. Let's move into the 2 heavy hitters. Now, a bit of a context, right, yet again, because context is important more than the shock value, right? I've always said so. I will keep that to me grave. These two were really hard to distinguish between, because I put this second point at the top of the list, and I was like, but maybe the one that is on the top of the list now should be on the top of the list, because it generally is a bigger con. So let's just move in so you know what I'm talking about. Number 2 on the list. Yeah, whatever. I should stop doing that. Number 2 is editing issues. Now, as I recently said, quite recently actually, Rhett and Link did this challenge where they were coming up with an idea, they were making the video, they were putting it out there. They were rendering it, they were editing it, all of that good stuff. Now, I don't know if it's a matter of expertise. It probably is, right? But I couldn't bear myself sometimes to edit stuff. I remember sometimes me having an idea of what I want to do with a clip, right? So I'm in a clip, I'm doing something funny that I deem to be hilarious, and I'm thinking, wow, I can really edit this in a very imaginative way that sort of brings out the point that I was trying to make there. And then I come around doing it. Let's say it's one of them 1:10 recordings in the morning. And when I'm done when I'm done actually putting everything together, it's 10 to 2 in the morning. And I'm like, should I really go on spending like an hour editing this video? Because that means I will get less sleep, and my days, I'm so cornered by my own planning. And that just means I'm generally rendering and putting it out there for the world to see, which is a bit unfortunate. And that is sort of the problem with having a daily upload schedule, especially when you're like me and you want to strive of putting out a video every single day that's made on that particular day. Now, spoiler alert though, yeah, to be honest, this final week is actually pre-recorded, everything. Yeah, I know, breaking the immersion, but that's just because, well, I'm moving away from this apartment and doing that 1 week before this actual celebration, and I don't want to be in the midst of moving to a new place and picking up everything there and making videos, because that will just be a hassle, and I think that the production value will be bigger here. So to some degree, I've already countered this con by doing this, but up until, this week, so to say, go live, I will have tried my best to do 1 video each and every single day, which yet again is sort of hard, because some days you just don't have the time. I mean, I remember the day when I was graduating and I had to record, I believe I recorded a video in the early morning that day with the entire outfit on me, and I was like, yeah, so I'm graduating today. And I was, had mixed feelings about that, to say the least. But even such a day when I was actually graduating, I found time to make a video. And sure, it's all about that, right? It's all about finding your time. But yet again, if you need to be creative in finding the time for actually making a video, editing it will become so much harder, because you generally don't have that much time if you need to be imaginative and creative in how you implement actually making the video to begin with, actually filming it or recording it, whatever you want to say. And that puts a certain strain on the production values, let's say, because I had so many ideas of how I wanted to utilize different softwares and different angles and different sort of mechanics in the software, and how I was going to zoom in and out and do all of these nice and hilarious things. But it's probably more realistic for me to do like 1 video a week if I want to have all of those things in there. It's also been a growing concern of some of my mates that I presented the channel with, because they have been like, oh mate, shouldn't you just be, backing off for a bit? And maybe do a weekly video and put a bit more effort in the creative process when it comes to editing it. And I'm like, oh yeah, maybe, but I'm up and going. I want to do the 365. The 365, it's like my goal. It's like my baby. I want to celebrate it. And they're like, yeah, sure, mate. So that's sort of what we're aiming for. But to some degree, that's also how I'm going to plan on encountering that in the future. Just making less videos and planning more about the editorial process, because I think in the overall quality that will be better. But yet again, when it comes to a daily upload schedule, the editing is such a hassle to deal with. It's unfortunate, but it's true. You could obviously do the case that you could just record lots and lots of videos on one day and then edit them on subsequent days and uploading the videos like that. But yet again, I want to try and do it each and every single day. That's just my mindset. Could probably be easily avoided. Maybe I'm doing it too inefficiently on myself and putting an unnecessary strain on myself, but that's just how it goes. Now let's move on though to the funniest one of the lot. The number one most growing concern, the key thing that has held me back, that I feel the one thing, if anything has held me back this year, it's been this one thing, right? And this is sort of interconnected to everything, and that is, number one, you're not always in the mood to make videos. You sleep on that for a while, right? The sort of point I want to make with this is not necessarily that, oh, I have points in time in my life where I'm really depressed and I don't want to talk to anyone. That can happen to anyone, right? I'm not trying to diminishing that. Could happen. But that hasn't happened to me over the last year. However, I've just been in pockets of moods. Sometimes it goes by a week where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make videos. It's gonna be the best thing ever. Woohoo! And then it goes along a couple of days where I'm like, I'm so drained. I so don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. And that mentality has been the biggest con of having a daily upload schedule, because usually you can just be like, okay, I'll take a break today and I will work more in the weekend when I've sort of, refreshed myself. But I couldn't do that the way that I've the way that I've presented me working with this, the way I actually want to work with my upload schedule. It didn't really work that way. So I was like, okay, I need to put one out anyway. I need to actually get engaged in something that I don't really want to talk about today. And subsequently, some videos has suffered from that. And it doesn't really matter how much of a editorial problem I'm running into each and every single day in comparison to those days when I'm just in a really bad mood. Could be because of anything, right? It could be because, well, the weather is bad, or either way, the weather is really good. I want to go outside. Could be that. Could be that I'm having an exam coming up. Could be that I'm feeling like I'm under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress, and I'm like, why am I doing this? And then it goes 2 days, and I'm like, I'm loving this. I'm so happy I didn't quit. There are all of these things in my mind all the time that sort of, swings back and forth, in sometimes really big as well. There could be big swings where I'm like, I love this. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. I'm committing to, I can't wait until I hit that 365 so I can just bury this shit and move on with my life, right? I mean, I'm in all different stages, and I believe that most people are. And that's probably the biggest problem with having a daily upload schedule. Especially when you do it like I do. Not necessarily that you want to chase after the biggest thing that's happening, because that's probably going to come natural if you're happy each and every single day. If you feel engaged and inspired each and every single day. The problem is, though, when you're not that, then it becomes really hard to try and chase the next big thing. It's horrible, actually, to be honest. But I pulled through, and one way of sort of combating that would yet again be that you're making lots and lots of videos in one day and then just editing them some days, because then you can be like, well, I'm not in the mood actually standing in front of the camera. I can just edit today and edit a few videos and have them ready, and then I can, record another day when I feel a bit more in the mood for that, so that you can swing back and forth. Or you can just make less videos and don't put the strain on yourself, right? There's different ways and various ways in how you can actually combat this con. But that has been my top 5. My top 5, cinco, right? Yes, cons of having a daily upload schedule that I have encountered over the last year. I hope that this helped some of you. Maybe not with this particular task, but could be a similar task, right? If you're just doing something daily, I believe that these are, maybe not the editing everything, but most of these things can come into consideration when you're doing something daily, really no matter what it is. So yeah, something that I'm definitely gonna learn from when I'm moving onwards with my next project that I'm gonna tease on Sunday, I believe. Have a nice one, mates. I'll see you. Bye.